I would like to introduce and welcome the chief guest of this month's webinar, Mr. Rohil Chada. Rohil is currently a final year student at the University of Pittsburgh studying finance and data analytics. After graduating from school in the May of 2021, he will be working as a solutions engineering analyst at Deloitte Consulting. Outside the classroom, he likes to spend his time learning the piano and keeping himself active by playing golf, tennis, and basketball. He is very proactive in the field of sports and ran track in high school and was in few clubs for for basketball and is always ready to play. On campus mentorship, he loves to counsel and or mentor his juniors and continually welcomes them. He never gives up on what he takes up and finishes it with great determination and great enthusiasm. He is very adaptable to change and does not turn down the opportunity to meet new people. Thank
All right. Thank you for that introduction, Renee.
you.
I don't know, I wouldn't say all of those great things about myself, but I appreciate it for sure. Yeah, I'm really happy to be here, everyone. This is a topic that I think is very important, and I'm glad that it's something that Kaushal and the Teenagers Interest team is bringing to the forefront of our discussion here today. And I'm really glad that these webinars are happening because especially during COVID, we need something like this to stay motivated and stay encouraged and to continue to do the things that we love to do. So if you can actually go ahead and share the screen again, that way I can follow along. Yeah. All right. So today, like we've been talking about, it's being different, but at the same time, it's making sure you're a good team player and you're bringing something positive to the forefront of any discussion in the team environment. And like we've been talking about, a lot of you guys are involved in sports and extracurricular activities. So, making sure that you have a positive impact is of the utmost importance. So right now, actually, I'd like to get started with a quick little activity. I don't know if you guys have been a little active so far on the call, but if you want to in the chat, drop down and answer this question. So how many of you are actively involved in an activity outside of school? So this can involve sports, this can involve volunteering, this can involve doing any sort of academic organization outside of school. Okay. So we've gotten about 20 answers, and this went pretty much how I expected it to go. So it is an overwhelming amount of teammates, right? So that's the team that most of you would like to join, and it's not surprising that you guys are team A because you're trying to get the work done, right? You're trying to be as efficient. Research is team A is actually not the better team out of the two, and it will continue to not be the better team out of the two. And this happens for a couple of reasons, right? So in team A, it's basically an unfriendly environment. So when I was talking about before, right, how do you be different, but also accept the differences of others? This is a very important concept known as psychological safety. And psychological safety is essentially this feeling or this emotion that's present within a team or a group where everyone accepts the ideas brought in by everyone else. So you have high self-esteem and you have high confidence because you know that nothing bad will be said about your idea and it will be respected and everyone will be able to talk about that. Instead, in Team A, where you're essentially surrounded by really overachievers and hardworking people, which is not bad, but when you have too many of them, it's sort of like minds clash, right? So if you have really high-ranking individuals like the CEO or the CFO or the CTO in a team with some of the lower-ranking teammates within the group, you won't get any ideas from the lower-ranking teammates because they're afraid, right? They're afraid to bring anything to the table when everything is so set in stone. The meetings start right away and they end right away. There's no real social aspect to it, and it sort of feels like it's just the reflection of the entire company. There's a hierarchy almost of leadership, managers, and then employees. But it shouldn't be that way. And that's why teamwork is important for companies because it encourages you to bring about ideas that might not be heard in your daily life. So obviously, you come into a company as a younger employee and then you work your way up into management. But employee, you have ideas when you're thinking about a solution. And that's why Team B actually presents a lot of upside for a lot of these companies, because of this concept of, they feel a lot more comfortable mentioning ideas once they know that it will be talked about. It's not something that's just going to be shot down right away. Even if you go off topic could be better, because especially with creative projects at companies like Google, you need a lot of time to think about these answers, because the solutions won't be easy. And because they won't be easy, perhaps going off topic might be the best answer to your question. You never know what loophole or what rabbit hole rather would lead to your solution. So in Team B, right, ideas are appreciated, creativity, and although you think, if you're in a bank, who cares about creativity? You just want to get your work done and get in your finance and your financial information to your clients. But that's still right. Any client-based things, right? Anytime you're talking to other people, no one wants to see essentially a robot. So in the past, robots were perhaps what everyone wanted to be, because society deemed that to be the way that employees should be, or students should be. But that's not the way it will be in the future, especially because of the importance of mental health going forward. And lastly, generally speaking, Team B leads to a positive work environment, and people want to continue working there. So, we talked about a lot so far, but a couple concepts that I'd like to highlight before I finish up and questions is, again, this concept of daring to be different, but also accepting the differences of others within the team environment. That helps you essentially, yeah. So, the concept of the day is essentially empathy, right? Empathy is an often overlooked emotion or personality trait, because it's really tough in the era of social media to be empathetic and to recognize the differences of others. But empathy is continuing to be very important, especially because teamwork and group work will not be going anywhere anytime soon. So I say the role of modern social intuition and the effect of social media will have a negative impact on being able to be empathetic going forward. And essentially what I mean by modern social intuition is, let's break it down into 3 parts, right? So obviously everyone has intuition, and intuition is your ability to make decisions. Now, in my opinion, social intuition is the fact that a lot of our decision-making abilities today are affected by social media and our social environment. So generally speaking, our social environment was independent from social media, but recently, because of our reliance on smartphones and being connected to everything and everyone, that's sort of gotten intertwined, and our decision-making ability has been changed because of all of the different notions we have on the people surrounding us and what they might think by the decisions we make. And modern social intuition is the fact that this is going to continue to become more virtual, right? Our interactions with others will only become more virtual. It's not going to become more human. And because of that, a lot of these decision-making abilities might become even tougher for us to make, right? So being confident in our ability to make a decision is simply going to get harder. But that's why these discussions, this webinar today, is very important, because it is people like you guys and like myself that have to be the difference in a team that we join. Most of the time, if you join a team or a sport with people that you don't know, obviously the norm for you would be to just follow what's going on, right? Follow the lead, follow essentially the trend of what's going on. But if you're able to actively be able to recognize what you want to change in the group environment, then go ahead and do that, right? Don't be afraid of being the difference maker, because difference is good, change is good. Constantly the proponent of change, especially when it brings, possibly being a teenager.
Thank you.
Thank you.